Welcome back to our continuing coverage from the Kashi Vishwanath Temple and the Gyanvapi Mosque premises. The Juma Namaz is just over, and as you can see in these images, a large number of Muslim pilgrims are now coming out after offering Namaz. We're looking at these images of these people coming out. शांतिपूर्वक नमाज हो गई. शांतिपूर्वक क्या रहा नमाज? सब अच्छी शांति से नमाज हुई. किस तरह की व्यवस्था थी अंदर? So the namaz is over. Some of the Muslim devotees are now out of the Gyanvapi Mosque, and there were about 700 to 800 namazis who were inside, and we are trying to speak to some of them.
सर प्लीज अभी जो है
शांतिपूर्वक रही.
जी बहुत अच्छी नमाज थी. आप बाहर निकलते रहिए.
So people are now being asked to come outside of the mosque, and very peacefully. As of now, it remains peaceful. There are three exit routes from here. One for the Hindu devotees, one for the Muslim namazis to come out, and the third for security forces to ensure that it all remains peaceful. We are walking around and talking to some of the namazis. अंदर जगह थी नमाज की नहीं थी.
हम लोगों को खुद में
चचा
निकलने दीजिए यार. आप लोग कैमरा लगा के निकलने में नहीं देना. हम लोगों को निकलने दीजिए.
The police keeping an eye on every bit of the situation here. I want to cut across to India Today's Anisha Mathur, who joins us from outside Supreme Court. Anisha, the Supreme Court now will decide, of course, as far as the Allahabad High Court is concerned. They've adjourned this case to July, but as far as the Supreme Court is concerned, both sides, the Muslim side doesn't want this process of survey to go on. The Hindu side wants more facts to emerge that this was indeed a temple, and they want right to worship not just at Shringar Gauri but also now at what the Hindu side says is the Shivling. So what's likely to happen in the Supreme Court later this afternoon in an hour from now?
Well, Gaurav, the special bench is set to hear this matter at 3 p.m. and we'll see what happens, what the course the court chooses to take today. Remember, yesterday when this matter had come up, the Muslim petitioners, the Masjid committee had said that this case that is going on in the civil court is having a larger ramification. Similar petitions seeking a sealing of areas is being filed in other Masjid disputes as well. The court had also said that there should be no disruption whatsoever to the namaz, but what has been found, what the Hindu side is claiming is a shivling, that should also be preserved so that there is no, there is evidence, whatever evidence is found must be preserved. So the court has to, at the moment, in the last 2-3 hearings, has been trying to play a balancing act, saying that we can't pass any orders, we can't say anything till we hear both sides. And now today will be very crucial to see if they are going to manage to hear both sides. Yesterday, the lawyer for the Hindu side was not available, and that is why this matter was adjourned for today. In the meantime, late last evening, a detailed application has been filed by the Hindu petitioners saying that the plea filed by the Muslim side should be dismissed. They have said that there is nothing wrong with the proceedings as are going on. In fact, they have said that the obstructions that have been constructed to the temple should be removed. In effect, they're saying that the walls inside the masjid should be removed so that the Hindu petitioners, the devotees have unhindered right to access the Shringar Gauri Mandir and other idols which are have been found inside what is now called the Gyanvapi Mosque premises. The Supreme Court will have to balance this very carefully, Gaurav. The question legally will be,
for the benefit of our viewers, Anisha, stay with me. I want our viewers to see what is the location that we are talking about. This is the Gyanvapi Mosque. This is the Kashi Vishwanath Temple. In between, this is the wall. Look at this wall. The Hindu side wants the wall to be taken down. The Hindu side wants access to the Shringar Gauri temple. The Hindu side now also wants access to the Shivling in this area which has been found. Now just behind these high pillars that you see, the security barricade that you see is the Wazu Khana. The Wazu Khana, where there are 30 taps, where there is water, and that Wazu Khana, at least as of now, has been dried out and sealed. But that Wazu Khana is where the Hindu side insists exists a shivling or a fountain as the Muslim side calls it. And Anisha, is this also one of the prayers as the Hindu side seeks access to the shivling for unhindered prayers at this premises?
Well, Gaurav, that is a prayer that is in the Varanasi civil court. Remember, the proceedings of what is actually been found in the survey or what is happening on the ground is before the Varanasi civil court. What the Supreme Court has to look at is the legal aspect of it all. The factual basis of what is there, what has been found in the survey, etc., will at some point have to be considered by the civil court. Supreme Court has been asked two specific questions. Could the civil court have ordered the survey at all? Could there be any petition whatsoever to change the character of this area when the 1991 Places of Worship Act says that everything has to be maintained the way it was at the time of independence in 1947. Those are the legal issues that the Supreme Court will take. Remember, Gaurav, where you are standing is the physical point of the entire debate, the entire dispute. And the Shringar Gauri Mandir, which you're talking about, that is a place that is acknowledged by the administration, by the courts, that there is a Shringar Gauri idol there. Twice a year there is puja allowed for the Hindu side. What the Hindu petitioners now want is unhindered access. They are saying that you can't stop us from accessing our Devi. You cannot create walls there and say that this is part of the masjid. You have to give us full and unfettered access to the Devi Mandir. In addition, they've also said in the Varanasi court that since there are other idols, there are other icons, there are other Hindu symbols in this entire premises, therefore you must remove the mosque completely, because the mosque is an obstruction to our right to access the temple. Now, which is where the Supreme Court's role comes in, that can we now, after 350 years of the mosque's existence, can we now, after decades of the 1991 Act being in existence, can we say that you remove these walls, you remove the mosque and you give the temple area back to the Hindus? Because remember, nobody here is saying that there was no temple. That is not the point of contention. The point of contention is, can you restore the temple and remove the mosque, particularly in light of the Places of Worship Act of 1991, since the mosque itself is also over 300 years old. So that is where the Supreme Court will have to consider where it's going to go. And can it take, because in the Ram Janmabhoomi case, the Supreme Court has said that
deciding whether the 1991 Places of Worship Act is maintainable, that's also been challenged in a court of law, with the Hindu side saying it violates their fundamental right to pray. How can there be fritters on Hindus accessing their temples? And here you see the Muslim, namazis now coming out, and after offering namaz अदा कर पाए थे? कोई समस्या तो नहीं हुई अंदर? कितने लोग थे अंदर? So inside, from what we've been told by the Masjid Intizamiya, is while the Muslim namazis offered their prayers at the mosque, they were also advised not to say anything that could inflame passions or tensions, especially in this area. And every activity here is being videographed by the police, by the administration, the police keeping an eye and now asking everyone to leave as quickly as possible, because remember, this is the only access both to the Gyanvapi Mosque and also to the Kashi Vishwanath temple. So once the police keeping an eye on all the activities that are happening here. Once these namazis clear out this area, then the Hindu devotees once again come and pray at the Kashi Vishwanath temple. And I want to cut across to India Today's Samarth Srivastav for more on the story. Samarth, some Muslim pilgrims were a little, namazis were a little upset that they couldn't get access to the Gyanvapi Mosque. They went to Razia Ki Masjid, they went to other mosques in the area. You've been speaking to them. What are they saying after namaz?
See, a lot of namazis are returning back and I'll try to speak some of them. आज क्या अंतर था पहले के मुकाबले? भैया पहले के मुकाबले आज क्या अंतर था?
नो कमेंट।
अंदर आज कुछ चेंजेस थे? आज कुछ चेंजेस थे? I'll try to speak, Gaurav, because I'm showing you the line from where these namazis are coming from the area from where you are reporting. That's the gate number 4 of Kashi Vishwanath Parisar and that complex of Gyanvapi. And as you can see, the police jeeps are coming out here in large numbers. Security has been beefed up because namaz has been completed and people are now. आज अंदर कुछ चीजें बदली थी, सील था।
यही बोलने के लिए क्या है?
क्यों अंदर क्या आज सील था वो एरिया? वजू स्थल सील था भैया आज क्या?
जी जी जी।
अच्छा, कोई दिक्कत तो नहीं हुई आप लोगों को? किसी तरह की दिक्कत?
कोई काहे दिक्कत?
So you can see a lot of people out here. I'm trying to speak to some of them. These are other police vehicles coming in, barricades putting in, and a large number of people coming in from the Gyanvapi Mosque after the prayers, after the Friday prayers. As you can see, they have got stoves as it's around 46 degrees centigrade in Varanasi. It's heating, and amid all that, they are here. क्यों अंदर सुरक्षा इंतजाम भी थे? अंदर के सुरक्षा इंतजाम थे आज पहले के? So they are tight-lipped and not speaking much, Gaurav, but I'm trying to show you the visuals out here, how the security has been beefed up. I will just move across to these jawans just to show, give you a sense how the security has been beefed up. The police jawans out here are monitoring the entire situation here. What I'm trying to access, they have got these bulletproof jackets with them, they have got these canes with them, and also some senior officers, they have got these helmets with them in a way to maintain the law and order situation out here, just to ensure that everything is all right in the Prime Minister's constituency, that is Varanasi. And what they are saying, आज क्या सब कुछ ठीक था? कोई दिक्कत थी? भैया आज क्या चेंजेस थे पहले के मुकाबले? आज पहले के मुकाबले कुछ बदला था अंदर? So these are the visuals coming in from here, where you can see a lot of namazis coming in after, and these are the visuals from there. There's the complex of Kashi Vishwanath, and just next to it there is Gyanvapi, and a lot of people coming out here. आज वजू स्थल सील किया गया था?
आई डोंट हरा गए
वजू स्थल अच्छा, so they are tight-lipped. Most of them are tight-lipped, Gaurav, and are not willing to speak. But one thing is very clear: they have arrived in large numbers because that was the time, the first day of Namaz, after the hearing, after the sealing process of that Wazoo Sthal, that was said by the local court. And now it's going to be crucial, like in the next Friday, how things goes on. Because today it was the tense atmosphere outside when we reported. Though now the situation is better with police acting smoothly out here. But a lot of people are still coming in. And आज क्या changes थे पहले के मुकाबले? आज सिक्योरिटी थी?
कोई दिक्कत नहीं।
कोई दिक्कत हुई?
कितने लोग करीब थे आज मस्जिद में?
क्या दिक्कत हुई आप लोगों को? So see, they are still tight-lipped. I'm trying to speak to some of them, but they are literally tight-lipped and are might be waiting for the next Friday for the namaz prayers. Back to you.
And look at the number of police personnel who've been deployed. You're absolutely right, Samarth. Look at the number of police personnel who've been deployed here. This is a contingent of the PSC or the Provincial Armed Constabulary. You have the Uttar Pradesh Police that are deployed here. You have the Central Reserve Police Force that is deployed here. You have several forces that have been deployed here to ensure that a peaceful atmosphere is maintained. As now the namazis leave this place, as you can see, these are the namazis who are leaving, and once the namazis leave, then the Hindu devotees for the Kashi Vishwanath temple, they will once again access the temple. Of course, those who want to access it even now can come from the other side and take the exit route to go in to the Kashi Vishwanath temple. But there's a very interesting aspect, and India Today is the first channel to get you textbook evidence of Emperor Aurangzeb destroying a temple and building a mosque here. That mosque that you see on your television screen, and that is on India Today. We will get you those facts up first. Now, this is the mosque that you see. This is the temple that you see. Was a temple demolished to build a mosque? Well, let's tell you more about this. India Today has spoken exclusively to officials who've investigated this in terms of his ASI officials, but in this Mega India Today exclusive, as this fight over Kashi and faith rages, India Today has accessed documentary proof that a Vishwanath temple in Varanasi was indeed demolished by Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb. India Today gets you details of Masire Alamgiri. It is an account of Aurangzeb's rule written by Saki Mustaid Khan, Aurangzeb's last secretary. Now, this text mentions that on the 8th of April in 1669, Aurangzeb came to know about what was termed at that point of time as Brahmins teaching false books to their schools. In their schools, it further reads that Aurangzeb was eager to establish Islam and ordered the demolition of schools and temples of the infidels. So according to Aurangzeb's wishes, the officers demolished the Kashi Vishwanath temple and built this mosque here, the Gyanvapi Mosque. The text, of course, was written after Aurangzeb's death, but was about Mughal rule from 1658 to 1707, and the text clearly mentions that Aurangzeb ordered the demolition of the temple, just as the Hindu side has been claiming. And India Today spoke to the former director of the Archaeological Survey of India, Amrendra Nath, who's actually said, you know, this visual that you see behind me, this mosque that you see behind me, according to Amrendra Nath, was actually a temple that was demolished and a mosque built. Take a look at what he's saying.
प्राचीन मंदिर है जो बाहर से जो दीवार दिखाई पड़ती है मस्जिद की, वो उसमें जो मोल्डिंग्स बने हुए हैं वो ब्राह्मणिकल स्ट्रक्चर के होते हैं और किसी भी प्रकार से वो मस्जिद के स्ट्रक्चर में नहीं पाए जाते हैं. जिस तरह की मोल्डिंग्स उसमें दिखाई पड़ती हैं दीवारों पर, सीरीज़ ऑफ फ्रिजेस दिखाई पड़ते हैं जिसमें कि ज्योमेट्रिकल पैटर्न्स दिखाई पड़ते हैं. तो ये सब चीज़ें प्रायः मस्जिदों के दीवार पर नहीं पाई जाती हैं. तो इस करके और ये मोल्डिंग्स को देखने से हमको ऐसा लगता है कि ये 9वीं-10वीं शताब्दी के.
And what is the situation on ground? The situation on ground as of now is that Muslim namazis are leaving. Hindu devotees will once again come in for darshan at the Kashi Vishwanath temple. But the Hindu side has been claiming that they want unfettered access not just to the Shringar Gauri Sthal, but after the discovery of what they insist is the Shivling and not a fountain, they want access even to that area. The chairman of the Kashi Vishwanath Trust actually says this entire area should now be handed over to the Kashi Vishwanath Temple Trust. But what's the legal opinion on this? India Today's Preeti Chaudhary gets us more.
You know, ma'am, legally, do you see this go exactly the way as the Babri, what happened after Babri, then the Ayodhya land dispute? Is it going exactly the same way? Of course, there is no demolition of the structure, but legally speaking?
Well, Preeti, there are a number of similarities definitely to the issues in question. I mean, there is partial demolition here, partial which happened during the time of Aurangzeb and whatever the history records it. And definitely there are disputed sections which are claiming the privilege of the area of worship in question. So one, of course, the petitioners who had filed the petition in the first place, seeking the opportunity to give prayers at the Shivling and to enter that area, and the other, of course, the Muslim segment, which is claiming its rights to continue with the mosque and not to have any intervention at that stage. So this is exactly somewhere where the Babri Masjid also headed with three disputing contestants as far as the issue is concerned. How it would go, I'm afraid I would find it impossible to predict. Right. But I can say, and again the evidence part of it. For example, the evidence that came out in Babri Masjid itself was indicative of the fact of the rights of the temple and the deity to have continuation of worship in that area. Similar appears to be forthcoming in the present matter. Of course, we will know in due course because the Special Commissioner also has submitted the report. The report has not been made public, I repeat, but whatever one has seen from the indications and of the course of the Supreme Court also passing an order appears to indicate that there is no ambiguity whatsoever. It is certain that a Shivling did exist. However, the determination and the adjudication process will of course go on and decide the ultimate issues in hand. Whether it goes exactly the same way as the Babri Masjid went, in the sense that the Hindus were given another site to build a temple and to offer their worships there, and that is the manner in which the issue was held, I cannot say. But Well, there are always reasonable possibilities. You have a large bench, constitution bench, which ultimately rendered the judgment, which has been enforced, and we've seen those times. It came out of Lucknow and finally landed up in the Supreme Court, and all the legal arguments having been considered, it was ultimately held that everybody's rights should be protected, and that is the manner in which the Babri Masjid judgment went. This judgment, we will see how it will run in the course of time.
Dr. Singhvi, we were speaking to Ms. Pinky Anand, and she was of the opinion that the constitutionality of the Places of Worship Act is in question. And that's the question that I want to ask you right now, sir. Because we have one lower court after the other taking up highly sensitive, highly contentious issues like the, of places of worship. Should they be doing so? Are they in violation of the Places of Worship Act 1991?
Well, you're asking a legal question, so let me give you a legal answer. There are, of course, wider ramifications, political, social, etc. Legal question of yours, the answer has to be an emphatic no. The suit is not even maintainable. It is not fileable. There is no point of wasting time in adjudicating a proceeding which at inception is stillborn. Now, let me tell you why it is stillborn. It is not a value judgment. It was a value judgment made by Parliament decades ago to put things as they are by an act called, as you know, the Places of Worship Act. That act has stood the test of time. It's no point talking about the constitutional validity of something being under challenge. You may have 100 acts in India, the validity of which is under challenge because there could be 1 million petitions challenging them. Does that mean that till such time as that challenge is allowed, the act is stayed, the act is quashed, the act is removed by a judicial order? Till such time you will ignore it? Is that parliamentary act a part of the law of the land? There is absolutely, it is elementary that so long as an act stands, and there are only two ways, either the act is repealed by, three ways, repealed by Parliament itself, which has not happened here, or a court order has stayed the operation of the act, which has not happened here, or the court by a final judgment has quashed the act, which has also not happened here. Absent these three, how can you start ignoring an act?
So the Jumme ki Namaz here is over on Friday afternoon at the Kashi Vishwanath Temple Gyanvapi complex. We slip into a quick break. There's lots more coming up on the other side of these messages. Stay with us on our continuous coverage on India Today.